the American dream. It's a phrase we all know, a promise that feels baked into the very idea of America. But what if the story we've all been told about it is wrong? Today, we're going to dig into what the American dream was really supposed to be about, and then look at some pretty surprising data to ask the question, is it even possible anymore?
So let me ask you, when you hear the American dream, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a big house, financial freedom, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps? Whatever it is, just kind of hold that thought. We're going to come back to it. All right, so let's start with the version of the dream that, we all think we know. The one we see in movies and hear about all the time. For most of us, it's that classic picture, right? It's about moving up in the world, the self-made success story. It's the house with the white picket fence, having that economic security. And honestly, even the Oxford English Dictionary defines it as getting rich through hard work. It's all about material success. Okay, but what if I told you that was never the original idea? What if the phrase American dream was first used to actually criticize the very pursuit of wealth that we now see as its core? Yeah, kind of wild, right? To really get this, we have to go back in time. We're going to rewind all the way to 1931 and uncover a completely forgotten meaning of the dream. The guy who actually made this phrase famous was a historian named James Truslow Adams, and his original definition is, well, it's kind of shocking. He specifically says the dream is not about motor cars and high wages. For Adams, it was about creating a society where every single person could reach their full potential, where you were judged for who you are, not for how much money you have. I mean, just look at this contrast. It's night and day. The original dream wasn't about getting rich. It was about building a better society. It was about us, together, collective well-being, not just me getting ahead. And it valued character over cash. It was a dream about real democracy and equality. Adams's whole idea was for a commonweal, which is just a fancy word for a society where everyone looks out for each other, for the common good. It wasn't about beating your neighbor. It was about building a community where everyone could rise up together. I mean, that's a pretty radical idea compared to how we talk about it today. So, how on earth did we get from Adam's vision to our modern one? Well, that historical split is actually still playing out, because right now, today, Americans are completely divided on what the dream even means. Get this. According to some recent polling from Gallup, the country is split right down the middle. Literally 50-50. Half of Americans say the dream is about opportunity, the chance to get a better education, a better job. But the other half says, no, it's about stability, just being able to support your family, have a steady job, and a safe place to live. And here's where your bank account really comes into play. If you're an American making less than 50 grand a year, you're much more likely to say the dream is about stability. But for those earning over $250,000, it's overwhelmingly about opportunity. Your economic reality completely changes your definition of the dream. But it's not just about money. The same data shows that for majorities of Black, Hispanic, and Asian Americans, the dream is defined as opportunity, even at lower income levels. And this suggests that, your cultural experience and your community's history play a massive role in shaping what you think is possible in America. Okay, so we have these two different competing versions of the dream. But that brings us to the biggest, toughest question of all. However you define it, opportunity or stability, is the dream still even possible? Well, the data, it tells a pretty sobering story. A huge study led by the economist Raj Chetty looked at what they call absolute mobility. Basically, what are the odds you'll earn more than your parents did? For kids born back in 1940, it was pretty much a sure thing. 92% of them earned more than their folks. Fast forward to 1960, and that number's already slipped to 79%. And for the generation born in the mid-80s, it's just 50%. A coin toss. For the first time in modern American history, your chance of doing better than the generation before you is no better than 50-50. Just let that sink in for a second. And this isn't some problem that's just happening in one part of the country. Nope. The decline has hit every single state. The dream has faded everywhere, with some of the steepest drops right in the industrial heartland, in places like Michigan and Ohio. And you can see these numbers playing out in real life. Let's talk about homeownership, a huge part of the modern dream. Well, today, 51% of renters say their student loan debt is a major reason they can't afford a home. That's locking an entire generation out of one of the main ways Americans have always built wealth. So all of this leads to the most important question, right? Why? Why has this promise that each generation will do better than the last just fallen apart so dramatically? The research points to two main culprits. The economy isn't growing as fast as it used to, and this is the big one, the way the benefits of that growth are being shared, or maybe more accurately, not shared. To figure out which one was the real problem, the researchers ran these two really cool what-if scenarios. In the first one, they imagined our economy was booming like it was after World War II, but we still had today's high levels of inequality. In the second scenario, they used today's slower growth rate, but they imagined we shared the money as fairly as we did back in the 1940s. And the results are stunning. They're not even close. Just making the economy grow faster only brought back about 29% of that lost mobility. But sharing the growth we already have more equally, that one change, it reversed over 70% of the entire decline. So the conclusion is pretty hard to ignore. While a growing economy is good, it's not nearly enough. The fading of the American dream is overwhelmingly a story about rising inequality. To bring it back, it's not just about making the economic pie bigger, it's about how we decide to slice it up. And this brings us right back to where we started. Maybe the key is to remember that original, forgotten meaning. As the historian Sarah Churchwell puts it, the American dream was never meant to be a promise that you'd get rich. It was an exhortation. It was a call to action for all of us to build a fairer, more equal society for everyone. And maybe, just maybe, that's the dream we really need to revive today.